Good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to thank Jackie and Elizabeth for inviting me to speak with you from the comfort of my home office, which I fondly call my nest. While I'm looking forward more than you know to be with you someday in person, I am grateful for technology that allows us to connect even this way. So I wanted to sit in my nest while I talk with you, and here's why. My husband, Ron, and I are empty nesters. One by one, our three children had to grow up. They fell in love and got married to people that we love very much. It was a season that happened really fast and actually still can feel a little blurry when I look back on it. But with all the growings up and leavings, we ended up with an empty room. So, for the first time since I got married nearly 40 years ago, I now have my own room. Imagine that. I picked the furniture, made the window treatments, and painted the walls my favorite shade of green. I filled my bookcase with all of my favorite books. My end table that you can see behind me is filled with letters that my mom sent me every week while I was away at college, and she continued sending me a weekly letter for the next 3 years until she died when I was 24 years old. So you can see why some of these things are really special to me. My shelves hold miniature bird nests and bird figurines because it's my nest, where I land when I need to regroup and processes changes in my life. And I think you'd agree that we are in the midst of unprecedented changes, right? Sometimes I wonder when this dream is going to end and life will once again feel like it used to feel. I don't know about you, but I'm sometimes walking around with the fears and sadness and hypervigilance running through the background of my mind too much of the time. It's like my brain's a computer that will not shut down because I've got this crazy app still open in the background. Last week I found myself focusing on a task pretty deeply, and when I was done, I realized that I had literally forgotten about COVID-19 and the pandemic for about 30 minutes. The jolt back to reality was jarring. That's when I realized I was really hyper-focused. I have a deep level of compassion for all of you because you have to navigate this season with your children watching how you're processing all the changes happening in our world. And you're daily, if not hourly, also dealing with their emotions about the journey that they are on, whether it's loss of playtime, activities, schools, they can't see their grandparents, you name it. You have to carry on in that context. My challenge is that I just miss my kids and my grandkids, and I want to be with them and give them a hug. But your reality, it's upfront and very personal. So I acknowledge that my vantage point is very different than yours, but I hope the words that I have today will give you a little bit of encouragement. I do plan to do a few of these if you'd like. They'll be short for sure, but hopefully will give you just a little bit of hope and encouragement in the middle of your days. Jackie told me that your theme has included living a full life. When I first read that a while ago, it just was easy for me to assume that was talking all about the joy parts of life. But honestly, our journey as humans living a full life needs to include a full range of emotions. So I'm going to be talking on maybe the more sad side of that. One of the things that I've continued to do during our stay-at-home season is head out to my nearby forest preserve for a long walk or a run, even a bike ride. Getting outside actually is where I can really recenter myself. So this morning when I went out, the weather was damp and gloomy. We'd had rain during the night and the sun hasn't broken through the haze yet to kind of rid the smells and the feel of that. Yet my soul was really resonating with that texture of the air and the wet pavement. Even though I could hear the birds declaring that his mercies were brand new for me this morning, I just felt sad. I was sad for a continued lack of clarity, for a lack of an ability to plan, for lost moments with people I love. I was sad for all the healthcare and public responder workers who risk their health. I was sad that my 97-year-old dad is confused why he hasn't seen me in the last 3 weeks. I kind of just felt like those soggy leaves that were all clumped up on the ground. Here's some other visuals that hit me. Last fall's grasses, the tall ones, were drooping with weariness from the rain. They looked like a defeated army. Any buds that I could see on the trees seemed a long way, actually too long, from blooming. Where was the hope that I'd longed to see when I left my house? Where were the signs of life sprouting out of these winter scenes? Why did everything just feel lifeless? Why couldn't I just take a deep breath and then just let it out? These were some of my grievances as I was talking with Jesus on my walk, and the list continued to grow. People dying all alone, children facing realities that I wish I could shelter them from, people avoiding even visual eye contact in Jewel, people suffering, people afraid, losing jobs, more suffering. Do I turn on the news? Can my heart bear to hear any more of it? Jesus, I need you to speak to me, and I need you to speak to all of us. We all need some hope and courage. We need connection. We need to receive and give kindness. We need to still taste joy. The few birds that flitted around me seemed to ask me to look around, to watch where they were landing, to listen to something other than my list of complaints, to open my eyes. So I listened, and this is what I saw. Tiny drops of water from last night's rain were clinging to thorny, barren branches everywhere, even covering the buds. I'd been looking only at the buds, feeling disappointed, and I missed the drops of water covering them. Water, that which everything is built upon. Water which represents life. I sensed God's quiet and gentle voice reminding me that the grievances feel like grievances because all the pain is so out of what He originally intended when He created me and you and everyone. When I had watched The Passion of the Christ that came out a number of years ago, there was one scene that still sticks with me. If you've seen it, maybe you'll remember it. It's when Jesus is hanging on the cross and the camera follows a drop of water from the heavens all the way down to earth. Regardless of what the director wanted that drop of water to represent, for me, it was a heaven-sent tear. A holy drop of water grieving with us for the pain of living in a fallen world where people get viruses or become unemployed or face fear or loneliness or emptiness. Today, God had literally surrounded me with tiny drops of water as if He agreed with the pain I felt over the dissonance between the way things should be in His original intent and the way things are. Do those drops of water change anything? No. Situations stay exactly the same. But it challenged me to refocus my vantage point. The fact that Holy Week is just around the corner is not lost on me. The week where the dissonance I'm feeling today is extremely vivid. I'm imagining that the disciples felt like their entire world changed overnight after they celebrated their Passover supper with Jesus in a blink of an eye. This Sunday, we'll celebrate Palm Sunday, sitting on our couches or in rooms with our individual families. That Palm Sunday where optimism and celebration were high. Everything was to the right and up. Not that long ago, that was our reality too. But then comes Good Friday. This year, I hope to not just see the thorns that He wore on His head, but I want to see the tears that heaven weeps over the pain he experienced and that we experience right now in our world. Perhaps his thorns were covered with tears. Perhaps our lives are sheltered and covered with his tears. He knows and cares and listening to even our unspoken heart cries. It's okay to incorporate these moments into living a life that's full because he's with us in that. And I hope that we can find ways to encourage one another as we are in this season of waiting for the good news in our world. Blessings to each one of you, and it was good to be with you.